Hi, folks. Mike Avila here with SYFY Wires Behind the Panel, and a little bit different format this time. Joining me today is the co-creator of Bitch Planet, Pretty Deadly, former writer of Captain Marvel, and currently crushing it on Aquaman, the lovely and very talented Kelly Sue DeConnick. We know everyone is still adjusting to this unprecedented situation we all find ourselves in, but we like to think we offer a nice little respite, a break from your day-to-day by being able to talk about something that we all know and love, which is comics. So with that, we're going to be talking over the next few weeks with some of our favorite creators about the new normal, how they're adjusting to it, and just how they're getting about their daily business. Kelly Sue, thanks for being here.
Hi, buddy. Thanks for having me. Hey, I see Aquaman behind you.
Yes, my love for Aquaman goes way back. We're going to talk plenty about Senor Aquaman in a minute. Okay. I want to find out how House Diffraction is doing during the self-quarantine period, because you guys have kids. You're used to working from home, but it's very different when the kids are home all the time.
Yes. And in fact, I just printed out like a 10-page document from my son's school about how his school from home is going to work starting on Monday. And oh boy. I don't know about this. We have this whole structure thing set up where we made a schedule, and we have a board with 3x5 cards that have activities on them, and everything. And we're kind of doing it. We're kind of pulling it off, but
yeah,
not really.
We did that too, and that kind of went by the side. I think by day 2. How are you and Matt handling all the various things you work on? Because you guys always have multiple projects, either at various stages of development in comics and other mediums. How are you able to do that, knowing you can't go to LA for meetings and whatnot? You got to do everything through video conferencing or phone calls.
It's tough. A lot of things my entire year has been canceled pretty much. I think I have something booked for October. There's some part of me that's like, yes, certainly not yes, COVID virus, and not yes, all the problems it's going to cause for our economy. But there is an enforced respite, because working from the road is even harder than working from a home with the kids here, believe it or not.
Like when you go to conventions and things, it must be impossible to get some creative juices going.
Well, it's not the creative juices. It's just the hours in the day, I come home from conventions really psyched, both from the time that I get to spend with readers to the time I get to spend with fellow creators who constantly inspire me. But you don't get as much done sitting on a plane as you do at your house. Sure. Generally speaking.
Speaking of your fellow creators, since you and Matt are founding members of the Portland Comics Mafia, is there some magical text thread that all of you guys are involved in, where you guys are sharing ideas and figuring out who's doing what? By the way, out of that whole group in Portland, which one is showing that they're going to be useful when the zombies actually come and take over? But this is a good testing period for this.
All right. Well, Elisa Bendis, Brian Bendis' wife, who kind of runs Jinx World, she has a phenomenal store of goods for, in fact, a couple years ago, she gave us all bug out kits for Christmas, so yeah, so we got, I think they're designed for the earthquake, the killer earthquake that's coming to the West Coast. It's got ways to clean water so that you can drink, and a crank radio and all of that. And in fact, when this whole thing happened, she texted everyone and was like, I bet you're glad that you have that zombie apocalypse bag now, aren't you? Which is pretty fun. So I think Elisa is the one that we're most grateful for in that regard. Chelsea Kane has all of the science in her brain. Chelsea knows,
Good to have somebody with the science.
Yeah. So she's the science officer on our zombie apocalypse team. I have some practical skills. I can sew, I can clean, I can bake. My husband thinks he's just going to be the first one to be eaten. He has no practical skill set whatsoever. But that's not actually true anymore. He's taken up carpentry in the last year, so maybe he can live.
He can build shelter.
Yeah.
That is an underrated skill set. He
has a lot of like hand
world.
planes,
Hey, let's talk about Aquaman. Your most recent issue 58, had some big developments. And sorry guys for the people who are watching this who maybe haven't gotten to it. So I'll give you a spoiler alert. If you want to take a break, maybe watch this a little bit later. But Aquaman got a bit of a makeover. I had a little Chris Evans vibe going. He had the shorter hair, well-groomed beard. It was nice. What was the idea behind that? And giving him a little bit different look than he's had for a while.
I mean, it wasn't a big discussion or anything. It was, in fact, I think I just came up with it while I was scripting. He was going to Atlantis nightly to spend time with the love of his life, who is unconscious. And I think he's trying to make it as normal as possible for himself and for everyone else and for his daughter. And so this night was like date night. He's going without his kid to just spend some time with Mera on his own. It was like, let's have him clean up a little bit.
And I like that he put on the classic unitop. That was a very sweet moment when he opens the door, that panel where he comes through the door and he's holding the flowers. I thought that was a very sweet moment. And it's one of the reasons why I've really enjoyed your run. My affection for Aquaman goes back a long time. And not just because I saw him in the Super Friends and all that stuff, but what I always liked about him in the comics is that different creators came on board and were able to provide great, memorable stories that if you never read another one, you can go back to that one 10 years ago and you got a really good sense of the character. And this is a very different Arthur Curry than we've seen. When you set out to do the book and you took it over, did you want to make him a bit more relatable than he's been for a long time?
I think he's an upward-facing character. There's characters that are cynical, that are downward-facing, and there are characters that are bright and upward-facing. And I don't think that one is better than the other. I think it's yin and yang, chocolate and peanut butter. But I think that Arthur is more like Superman than Batman. Arthur is buoyant, right? So he's the water guy, visceral and sensual and fluid. We really wanted to emphasize that over the kingly stuff that had been kind of emphasized previously, especially because by the time I'm coming on, he's given up the throne, right? So let's revisit what is really fundamental about him. And also kind of looking at what's their core wound, and is there a way that I can bring their core wound back to their power set so that it has a kind of mythical or metaphorical resonance. And so it was like, all right, well, his core wound, what have we got? Well, he's half Atlantean and half human, so he's not at home in either place, right? The fish out of water thing. And that's been done before, but I think it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work in today's culture because, for one thing, he's a handsome, literally bulletproof white man. So the idea that he pays some kind of price for being Atlantean.
Hard to buy.
Yeah. It's like, no, dude, you're on the Justice League. You're doing all right. And it was like, all right, so that one doesn't really work. And then there's a good option in Johns' run. Johns added this thing to the Manta mythology with Arthur, that Arthur murdered Manta's father. And so that's guilt. That's a good core wound. But I didn't really want to emphasize that because it felt too dark to me. And also just not heroic. It's an accidental killing, but it's a straight killing. He didn't mean to kill his dad, but he meant to kill him, right? That's hard for me to reconcile with hero. But I was very interested in the fact that this is also from Johns' run, his mother left him to return to her duties in Atlantis, and he was raised by a father who took him to the ocean every day to look for his mother. That's a core wound. Abandonment is huge. And then, all right, so that's great. And what does abandonment give me for character? Well, it gives me somebody who is an overachiever because they want to prove to the missing parent, you missed out. You shouldn't have left. I was worthwhile, right? So we got that. We've got an emphasis on duty. His mother left him because she had a duty to. So that's the only thing that makes it okay. It wasn't a rejection of him, it was duty. So he's very duty bound. That checks, right? And then can we connect that to his core power set? Yes, the distinguishing ability that he has. You know, other characters are bulletproof. Other characters can talk underwater. Other characters are super strong. He has the call, right? He can call every creature in the ocean back to him except his mom. There we go. That's what we got. So
core wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of engine for him, is sort of always trying to fill that hole, always trying to be good enough to do better. And now in this current storyline, to be a better parent than the one he had.
I'll preface what I'm going to say now. I mean this in the nicest possible way, because I love soap operas, but there's some great soap opera melodrama happening right now in your book, with Mera in a coma, Volko asking Arthur for permission to marry her so he could keep running the kingdom according to her wishes. And on top of that, double spoiler alert, Princess Andy is missing. I mean, holy cow. The General Hospital never did any of this.
Yeah.
In their wildest dreams.
It's very X-Men. You know, X-Men is a big soap opera book. It's very X-Men.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works. I got to ask though, as we know, Aqua babies don't have a great history in this mythos. For the love of God, please tell me you're taking care of Princess Andy. Please.
Okay.
Come on.
I would not hurt baby Andy. I will not. I give you my word, nothing will happen to this child while I am on this book. I cannot speak to you what happens after I leave. I think that they would be foolish, because I think there's some really great stuff we can do. I'm giving them on a silver platter a really cool thing they can do with this kid. But yes, but my word is my bond. I will not murder a child. I promise you.
I know from the solicitations of issue 61, Mera's back. She'll be standing upright at the altar. I don't want to talk about that, but I do want to talk about her, because she's been this great character the last few years. You know, a lot of times she's just kind of been, you know, pushed to the side, but the last few years she's really the Mera Renaissance is in full bloom, and I thought the movie did a good job with it. The comics have been doing it for a while. You're continuing with it, and I realized something. Arthur Curry's a better character with Mera than without her.
I think so too, but here is a problem. And I know there were a lot of people that were very upset with me because I have spent so much time keeping them apart. But the reason I did that was because she is so strong and so well developed that she can be the more interesting character of the two of them. And his name is on the cover. And so I really wanted to emphasize the importance of their bond by making it something that they could fight for. And then, and to complicate it too, by giving it real human stuff. It's not just a perfect, we get along all the time, look at us dashing into danger. You know, it's like there's things, you know, they have human emotions, and everything's just bigger because they're superpowered, right? But I also needed some space to develop who he was in order for him to come back and be worthy of her.
By the way, how long do you plan on being on the book?
I can't say. I don't know. We'll see.
At least through issue 65, right?
Yeah.
At least through issue 65. Okay. All right. I want to wrap this up with a couple of fun questions. What's been your go-to comfort food during this self-quarantine period?
In 2 weeks, I've eaten 3 large bags of potato chips. We don't usually have potato chips in my house. You know why we don't usually have potato chips in my house? Because left to my own devices, I will eat 3 large bags of potato chips all by myself.
Classic flavor?
No, oh my gosh. The best was Kettle brand Korean barbecue potato chips.
Ooh, you go for the fancy ones.
They were incredible. They were unbelievable. Yeah, and I'm so glad they're gone.
What about, has there been Are you trying to read or watch new TV shows and films or books you haven't read, or are you going to some of your favorites?
I have less time right now, not more time. So I haven't been able to take on anything new, especially, but I have been reading, as I always read, and I just made it through I'm in the middle of the second one. That there's 2 nonfiction books that I actually highly, highly recommend. One is Kelly McGonigal's The Joy of Movement, and I loved that one so much that I immediately got on my Kindle her book, The Upside of Stress, which I think all of us should probably be reading right now.
I would bet that's a great read for right now.
Yeah, so I've really found a lot of comfort in The Upside of Stress. And then, in the evenings, we're just trying to give the kids our attention. And so we had movie night the other night, and we watched Real Genius.
Ooh.
And the kids.
How old are your kids? How old are your kids?
They are 9 and 12.
And what did they think of it?
They loved it. Which was like, whoo, because I didn't want to have to give you to the circus. Yeah, we really, really enjoyed that. It also holds up a lot better than, there's a couple things where you're like, oh, all right. But it holds up pretty well. It holds up pretty great. And, my son asked if we could watch RoboCop, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait, but not quite yet. We're not there yet.
I haven't seen that one in a while. I wonder how that holds up.
RoboCop holds up really well.
I haven't seen RoboCop in years. I'll take your word for it. Real Genius, I'm going to put on my list. I have a 9 and an almost 7-year-old. Last one, speaking of kids. What's Kelly Sue's go-to maneuver to distract the kids so you can have some me time to read your book?
Well, it's give them comics, which you could not have given me a better setup for that, but it's the actual God's honest truth. And I have over here 3-volume Harley Quinn omnibus that I bought for myself that my daughter has been making her way through. I don't even know if it's age appropriate. I have no idea, but yeah, I've been like, here, take this, and she loves it. So she came in yesterday and was like, "Can I get volume 2?" And I was like, "Yes."
Kelly Sue, thank you again.
Thanks,
all the best
Mike.
to you and your family.
To
This was a blast, and all the best to you and your family getting through all this, and keep eating those potato chips. You know what? These calories, you can cut them by 2/3 during the self-quarantine.
I did work out yesterday, though. I did totally work out yesterday.
You know what? You've earned another bag of those Kettle brand Korean barbecue chips.
Thankfully, I'm out. So.
You know what? Somebody should Amazon Prime you another bag. Do it. You treat yourself. Treat yourself. My thanks to Kelly Sue DeConnick for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be sure to check out, while you're here, all these great behind the panel videos. And don't forget about my weekly column at SYFYWire.com.